How to be preserved from a wandering heart in holy contemplation. Our chief work here is to discover the danger, and that will direct to the fittest remedy. The heart will prove the greatest hindrance in this heavenly employment, either by backwardness to it, or by trifling in it, or by frequent excursions to other objects, or by abruptly ending the work before it is well begun. As you value the comfort of this work, these dangerous evils must be faithfully resisted. First, you will find your heart is backward to this, I think, as to any work in the world. Oh, what excuses will it make? What evasions will it find out? What delays and demurs when it is ever so much convinced? Either it will question whether it be a duty or not, or if it be so to others, whether to yourself. It will tell you, this is a work for pastors that have nothing else to study, or for persons that have more leisure than you have. If you be a pastor, it will tell you this is the duty of the people. It is enough for you to meditate for their instruction and let them meditate on what they have heard, as if it was your duty only to cook their meat and serve it up, and they alone must eat it, digest it, and live upon it. If all this will not do, your heart will tell you of other business, or set you upon some other duty, for it'd rather go to any duty than this. Perhaps it will tell you other duties are greater, and therefore this must give place to them, because you have no time for both. Public business is more important. To study and preach for the saving of souls must be preferred before these private contemplations, as if you had not time to care for your own salvation, for looking after that of others, or your charity to others were so great that it obliges you to neglect your own eternal welfare, or as if there was any better way to fit us to be useful to others than making this proof of our doctrine ourselves. Certainly heaven is the best fire to light our candle at, and the best book for a preacher to study. And if we would be persuaded to study that more, the church would be provided with more heavenly lights. And when our studies are divine and our spirits divine, our preaching will also be divine, and we may be called theologians indeed. Or if your heart will have nothing to say against your work, it will trifle away the time in delays, and promise this day and the next, but still keep you off from the business. Or it will give you a flat denial and oppose its own unwillingness to your reason. All this I speak of, the heart, so far as it is still carnal, for I know so far as it is spiritual, it will judge this the sweetest work in the world. What is now to be done? Will you do it if I tell you? Would you not say, in a like case, what should I do with a servant that will not work? Or with a horse that will not travel? Shall I keep them to look at? Then faithfully deal thus with your heart. Persuade it to the work. Take no denial. Chide it for its backwardness. Use violence with it. Have you no command of your own thoughts? Is not the subject of your meditations a matter of choice, especially under the guidance of your judgment? Surely God gave you, with your new nature, some power to govern your thoughts. Are you again become a slave to your depraved nature? Resume your authority. Call in the Spirit of Christ to your assistance, who is never backward to so good a work, nor will deny his help in so just a cause. Say to him, Lord, you gave my reason the command of my thoughts and affections. The authority I have received over them is from you, and now behold, they refuse to obey your authority. You command me to set them to the work of heavenly meditation, but they rebel and stubbornly refuse the duty. Will you not assist me to exercise that authority which you have given me? Oh, send down your Spirit, that I may enforce your commands and effectually compel them to obey your will. Thus you shall see your heart will submit, its resistance be overcome, and its backwardness be turned into cheerful compliance. Number 2, your heart will also be likely to betray you by trifling when it should be effectually meditating. Perhaps when you have an hour for meditation, the time will be spent before your heart will be serious. This doing of duty, as if we did it not, ruins as many as the omission of it. Here let your eye be always upon your heart. Look not so much to the time it spends in the duty as to the quantity and quality of the work that is done. You can tell by his work whether a servant has been diligent. Ask yourself, what affections have yet been exercised? How much nearer am I to heaven? Think not, since your heart is so trifling, it is better to let it alone. For by this means you will certainly banish all spiritual obedience. Because the best hearts, being but sanctified in part, will resist so far as they are carnal. But rather consider well the corruptions of your nature, and that his sinful indispositions will not supersede the commands of God, nor one sin excuse another, and that God has appointed means to excite our affections. This self-reasoning, self-considering duty of heavenly meditation is the most effective means both to excite and increase love. Therefore neglect not the duty till you feel your love constrain you, any more than you would stay from the fire till you feel yourself warm. But engage in the work till love is excited, and then love will constrain you to further duty. Number 3. Your heart will also be making excursions from your heavenly meditation to other objects. It will be turning aside like a careless servant, to talk with every one that passes by. When there should be nothing in your mind but heaven, it will be thinking of your calling, or your afflictions, or of every bird or tree or place you see. The cure is here the same as before. Use watchfulness and violence. Say to your heart, what? Did I come here to think of my worldly business, of persons, places, news, or vanity, or of anything but heaven, be it ever so good? Can you not watch 1 hour? Would you leave this world and dwell forever with Christ in heaven, and not leave it 1 hour to dwell with Christ in meditation? Is this your love to your friend? Do you love Christ in the place of your eternal blessed abode no more than this? If the ravening fowls of wandering thoughts devour the meditations intended for heaven, they devour the life and joy of your thoughts. Therefore drive them away from your sacrifice and strictly keep your heart to the work. Number 4. Abruptly ending your meditation before it is well begun is another way in which your heart will deceive you. You may easily perceive this in other duties. In secret prayer, is not your heart urging you to cut it short, and frequently making a motion to have done? So in heavenly contemplation your heart will be weary of the work, and will stop your heavenly walk before you are well warm. But charge it in the name of God to stay, and not do so great a work by halves. Say to it, foolish heart, if you beg a while, and go away before you have your alms, is not your begging a lost labor? If you stop before the end of your journey, is not your travel lost? You came here in hope to have a sight of the glory which you must inherit. And will you stop when you are almost at the top of the hill and turn back before you have taken your survey? You came here in hope to speak with God, and will you go before you have seen him? You came to bathe yourself in the streams of consolation, and to that end did unclothe yourself of your earthly thoughts, and will you only touch the bank and return? You came to spy out the land of promise. Go not back without one cluster of grapes to show your brethren, for their encouragement. Let them see that you have tasted of the wine by the gladness of your heart, and that you have been anointed with the oil by the cheerfulness of your countenance, and have fed of the milk and honey by the mildness of your disposition and the sweetness of your conversation. This heavenly fire would melt your frozen heart and refine and spiritualize it, but it must have time to operate. So pursue the work till something is done, till your grace is being exercised, your affections raised, and your soul refreshed with the delights above. Or if you cannot attain these ends at once, be the more earnest at another time. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he comes, shall find so doing. From the Saints' Everlasting Rest by Richard Baxter. The heavenly rest, a dread to sinners. O secure sinners, what now will you do? Where will you hide yourselves? What shall cover you? Mountains are gone. The heavens and the earth which were are passed away. The devouring fire has consumed all except yourselves, who must be the fuel forever. Oh, that you could consume as soon as the earth, and melt away as did the heavens. All these wishes are now but vain. The Lamb himself would have been your friend. He would have loved you and ruled you, and now has saved you, but you would not then, and now it is too late. Cry not, Lord, Lord, it is too late, too late. Why do you look about? Can any save you? Where do you run? Can any hide you? O wretch that has brought yourself to this. O drowsy earthly heart, how coldly do you think of this reviving day? Had you rather sit down in dirt than walk in the palace of God? Are you now remembering your worldly business, or thinking of your lusts, earthly delights, and merry company? Is it better to be here than above with God? Is the company better? Are the pleasures greater? Come away. Make no excuse nor delay. God commands, and I command you. Gird up your loins, ascend the mount. Look about you with faith and seriousness. Look not back upon the way of the wilderness, except to be to compare the kingdom with that howling desert, more sensibly to perceive the wide difference. Yonder is your Father's glory. Yonder, O my soul, must you remove when you depart from this body, and when the power of the Lord has raised it again and joined you to it, yonder must you live with God forever. There is the glorious New Jerusalem, the gates of pearl, the foundation of pearl, the streets and pavements of transparent gold. O my soul, do you stagger at the promises of God through unbelief? I much suspect you. Did you believe indeed, you would be more affected with it. Is it not under the hand and seal and oath of God? Can God lie? Can he that is truth itself be false? What need is God to flatter or deceive you? Why should he promise you more than he will perform? Dare not to charge the wise, almighty, faithful God with this. How many of the promises have been performed to you in the conversion? Would God so powerfully concur with a feigned word? O wretched heart of unbelief, has God made you a promise of rest, and will you come short of it? Your eyes, your ears, and all your senses may prove delusions sooner than a promise of God can delude you. You may be sure of that which is written in the Word than if you saw it with your eyes or felt it with your hands. Are you sure you are alive, or that this is earth that you stand on, or that your eyes see the sun? As sure as all this glory to the saints, as sure shall I be higher than yonder stars and live forever in the holy city, and joyfully sound forth the praises of my Redeemer, if I be not shut out by this evil heart of unbelief, causing me to depart from the living God.